Welcome into a new edition of Beyond the Arc here on High School Cube News. Brian Chimino back with you with Michael O'Brien of the Chicago Sun-Times. First off, let's talk about the Chicago Elite Classic taking place this past Friday and Saturday at the UIC Pavilion. And want to think of the teams that made the biggest impression. Everybody was expecting Simeon, Mike, but it seemed like it might have been St. Joe's. They rolled over the team from California, and Nick Rekasevic, a huge stat line, 15 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks.
Yeah, Rekasevic was awesome. Second time I've seen him do that this year. He has the potential to be an NBA player. I mean, if he keeps getting better, it's all there for him. And Glenn Watson's so good. Joe's definitely impressed a lot of people, mainly because there were a lot of doubters after last year about them. I jumped them up to number 3. I think they clearly deserve that. Their resume is pretty solid for this early in the year. They've got some really nice wins. But Simeon did not disappoint. They the second half especially, it was a pretty mesmerizing performance. I think they were a lot better than almost anybody expected, and I did give serious thought to maybe making them number 1 this week.
With all the talk about certain players in the Chicagoland area, nobody may have a bigger chip on their shoulder than Lawan Pipkins of Bogan, and he hit the game winner in overtime to knock off Lone Peak, 60-57. Only had 14 points, but those points came at big times.
Yeah, he hit the big game winner. He was there when they needed him. I thought it was kind of a weird game for Bogan. I mean, obviously, first off, huge win, biggest win in school history on a huge stage. They came through, they played great. But Pipkins sat for a while for some kind of unknown reason. The team really felt disjointed to me. Usually they move the ball real well. I looked in the first half, they had like only one basket was assisted. It was a little strange, so I think they're maybe still working out the kinks. Maybe it was just the pressure on that big stage against a team like Lone Peak, but you can't take anything away from that win. That was really impressive for them.
Friday night, the nightcap for the Elite Classic was the new look Whitney Young Dolphins. But what kind of look is it? We're not too sure about. Didn't look very good. Very, very sloppy, losing in overtime, Mike, and 19 missed free throws.
Yeah, I'm really puzzled about Whitney Young. I don't know what to say. I was writing the stories for the first few games during most of the first half, so I didn't get to pay a lot of attention. I was kind of there watching. But in the second half I did, and they're a hard team to figure out right now. They're playing a lot of guys. A lot of these guys, have talent and should be, Division I college players. Pretty much all we know for sure right now is that Rodney Harrington is really solid. He's going to have a big year. But yeah, they don't know what they are. We don't know what they are. Anthony Mosley dropped some strange hint to me about this was an off-the-court loss, not on the court. I think that even made my story in the newspaper, but maybe they've got some chemistry issues right now. Who knows? I think there's a lot yet to be determined with Young, which we're going to find out real quick since they play Orr on Sunday.
Last week, one of the 5 things we previewed to watch was the debut of Marcus Lovett for Morgan Park. We thought it was going to be Saturday versus Larkin, but Mike got an early wake-up call on Tuesday, and Morgan Park debuting against Urban Prep Bronzeville, and they absolutely rolled. Marcus Lovett not scoring in his debut, but what about Charlie Moore? He was like, hey, I'm the point guard that won state last year. 49 points and 10 assists in that game.
Yeah, it was a wild game, no doubt about it. Lovett was impressive. He was 0 for 7 from the field. One was an airballed 3. He had some really high-level, difficult drives to the basket he tried to make that he missed. He missed a couple other threes. One was in and out. I mean, he's going to score fine. We saw he did score fine against Larkin later in the week. But to me, the thing to take away from that game, the really, really, really important thing, maybe the most important thing I've seen all year as far as the area basketball scene, Marcus Lovett and Charlie Moore really play well together. They've got some really sick chemistry. They did some things that I haven't seen a guard combo do. They know where each other are on the court. They want to play with style. They want to share the ball with one another. They're going to be fun to watch and really difficult to beat. I think that's going to make up for a lot of the losses Morgan Park had with Cunningham and Lamont Walker. The bigs aren't as good this year. They got Chapman and a couple other guys. They crashed the boards, though, and did a nice job with that. Defense is going to be an issue with that team. But when you have 2 guards in high school basketball that are as talented as Lovett and Moore and seem to have the connection that they do, it's going to be a really special year watching them.
And before we wrap up this edition of Beyond the Arc, got to take a look at some newcomers into the Super 25, headlined by Hillcrest and Thornton making big jumps up to number 14 and number 15.
Yeah, Thornton, you always think about ranking Thornton in the preseason, but Troy Jackson kind of sandbagged it. He told me, he's like, oh, we won't be a great team. We should be a good team. Well, they're playing better than that. He did say that the junior class is really talented, so I'm excited to get a look. Not a lot of names, we know back for Thornton, so they're kind of an unknown team, but they smashed a good Thornwood team, so they're back on the radar. Hillcrest, was ranked in the preseason. They left after the loss to Hales, but they showed against Plainfield East. They're the typical Hillcrest, you know, hard-nosed defense, forced a bunch of turnovers. D'Angelo Isby can really play. They need some better perimeter shooting, you know, to go far this year, but they're going to be a really hard team for anybody to handle.
And you can check out the entire Super 25 on High School Cube News, along with other newcomers such as St. Charles East, Proviso East, and St. Patrick's. And also check back later in the week for Beth Long's weekly MVP segment this week, featuring Illinois commit DJ Williams from the Simeon Wolverines. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel for all the videos of MVP and also Beyond the Arc. For Michael O'Brien, I'm Brian Chimino. We'll see you guys next time.